Venkatesa Shastri. Legendary masters, right from the Vedic rishis to Bhagavan, left their teachings so that we regain the natural state of being that they are established in. The fact is that whoever listens to or reads the teaching should intend to be that, not through an act of change, but by just being. A significant teaching in Who Am I is detachment or desirelessness. This is not different from wisdom. Desirelessness is refraining from turning the mind outwards to any object. Wisdom means the appearance of no object. In other words, not seeking anything other than the self is detachment or desirelessness. Not leaving the self is wisdom. One of Bhagavan's ardent devotees, a simple and humble man, practiced these two: absolute detachment and shining wisdom. And he did so in a very natural and yet remarkable way. He was none other than Venkatesa Shastri, or Shastri Mama, as we fondly called him. Shastra means scriptures, and one who has mastered the Vedas is given the surname Shastri. Mama means uncle in Tamil. He lived in the world but was untouched by it. Soaked in wisdom at all times, he showed that there is no contradiction between work and wisdom. Shastri Mama was Bhagavan's distant cousin. His mother passed away when he was very young, and his father married a second time. Though his stepmother often tortured and ill-treated him, he suffered her atrocities silently. When he was 3 years old, she twisted his hand and thrust it into the kitchen fire. His fingers were permanently deformed, but he bore the scar of the horrific incident uncomplainingly. His father, unable to mend his wife's ways, took him further south to Kochi in Kerala, where he thought his son would be happier. He enrolled him in a residential school of Ayurveda, which also taught astrology. Fortunately, the mentor of that school was the head of the royal family of Kochi, an impressive astrologer and an Ayurvedic doctor himself. Shastri Mama was exceptionally brilliant. Within a year, he mastered thousands of Sanskrit verses, which normally took over 15 years to learn. The teacher was so impressed by this boy's genius that he decided to mentor him personally. He took his protege back with him to his palace and told him, "Ordinary astrology is not your subject. I am going to teach you prajna, the highest form of astrology." The literal meaning of the word prajna is question. In ordinary astrology, when a child is born, a horoscope is cast based on the planetary alignments at the time of birth. The horoscope is referred to throughout the child's life, and his or her future is predicted through an intellectual interpretation of planetary alignments in the horoscope. On the other hand, a person who has mastered prajna does not need the horoscope. Instead, he mentally draws the birth chart based on mathematical calculations, using the time of questioning, the name, the direction which the questioner is facing, the place from where he hails, his father's name, his mother's name, and the first letter of the sentence of the question, as well as the first word of the question, and several others. He then taps into his well of higher intuitive knowledge and waits for an answer. The predictions come from within. Needless to say, they are accurate because they come from the intuition, the inner standing, the inner understanding. When Shastri Mama completed his course, he was obliged, as per Hindu custom, to give his teacher Guru Dakshina, an offering made in gratitude for knowledge imparted. The teacher was very proud of him, but knew that Venkatesa Shastri was too poor to give him anything. So he said, "I am going to ask you for Guru Dakshina. Whatever you want, my master, please let me know." Venkatesa replied. The teacher gave him a picture of Lord Subramanya, the second son of Lord Shiva. Subramanya is the god of wisdom, silence, and absolute detachment. And the teacher said, "Worship him, and he will guide you all your life. This is the Guru Dakshina I want from you." Shastri Mama took his teacher's gift as his blessings and went back to his village. He became a renowned and prosperous astrologer whose predictions were always accurate. But one day, one of his uncles brought him a picture of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Shastri Mama placed the picture with reverence in his puja room, next to Lord Subramanya's picture. And one morning, when meditating, he opened his eyes and saw the picture of Bhagavan transforming into the Lord's picture, and the Lord's picture turning into Bhagavan's image. Unsure whether it was a dream or vision, he observed this transfiguration for nearly half an hour. He felt that perhaps his teacher had wanted him to have Lord Subramanya in human form to be his guide all his life. So, in 1917, he came to visit Bhagavan at Skanda Ashram. As soon as he arrived, Mother Azagamal recognized him as her relative. Bhagavan too concurred, saying, "Yes, I know, he is Subhu's son." Before meeting Bhagavan, most of his devotees had only heard his name and had no idea of his spiritual stature. Therefore, none had any preconceived notions of his significance. But all realized it in their first meeting with him. And this was a similar case when Shastri Mama saw Bhagavan. He realized that he had found his Lord and Guru, the Lord of renunciation, wisdom, and silence, even though Bhagavan had not yet spoken a single word to him. Shastri Mama was convinced that prajna, his chosen branch of astrology, was the most perfect science. So he mustered courage, approached Bhagavan in all humility, yet with full conviction, put the following question: "Bhagavan, is not astrology the best and most accurate of all sciences?" Bhagavan looked at him intently for some time, and slowly but firmly replied, "The science of the self is superior to all other sciences." Shastri Mama was at the height of his career, and every prediction of his was very handsomely rewarded. He was thus earning a lot of money, amassing wealth. But these conclusive words from the Master sowed the seed of renunciation in him. He felt it was futile to live in an ever-changing world and decided to live with his Master. But, according to Hindu custom, if an elderly relative is present, one must take guidance from him or her. So he went to Bhagavan's mother and said, "I want to renounce the world and stay with Bhagavan." "How can you do that?" she exclaimed. "We have decided on a girl for you right from your childhood, and she is waiting for you. You must honor this commitment and marry her. How can you come away here?" Shastri Mama glanced at Bhagavan. Bhagavan gave a smile of approval. So Shastri Mama went back to his village, married the girl. Her name was Vishalakshi, and she was called Sela. He then lived very happily for a few years as a successful astrologer.